What's going on, guys, and welcome to the video. This video is all about what I did in my 20s to set myself up for success in my 30s. But before I was 20, I was 18. And when I was 18, I got a tattoo that I hated. And for 13 years, I hated that tattoo. I did multiple sessions of removal, and now Alex Assad is finally covering up that tattoo that I hated for the last 13 years. So, that's what I did in my teens. Now let's talk about what I did in my 20s that set me up for success in my 30s. Now the first thing that I did was I bet on myself. It's crazy right now because I'm moving from Fort Benning, Georgia to Fort Hood. Tomorrow I'm driving 14 hours from Georgia to Texas. Well, I'm taking our new pre-workout flight. I took this like 10 minutes ago and it's hitting me hard already. Betting on myself was the best decision I've ever made in my entire life up until this point. So many people are willing to invest time, money, energy, and resources into just about anything but themselves. And when I was 22 years old, I was studying nutrition in college. I was in the Army ROTC program. I had no money to my name, no assets, no investments, nothing. I was able to take out a $20,000 loan to start my business and bet on myself, bet the entire house on myself to build something that was a dream, that was a vision. That was BPN. The HQ we're sitting in right now, this is and was a dream at some point. The one thing that I lacked that other people had was paralysis by analysis. So when I was planning on building an office, this is like exactly what I envisioned. Black leather couch, black walls, lights, it looks good. Anyone else could look at why you shouldn't and the reasons not to. But I was optimistic. I saw that if I could bet on myself, I could control the outcome. Instead of investing time, money, energy, resources into someone or something else, I'm gonna put it on me. I'm gonna be in control. That was the first decision I made in my early 20s that led to success in my 30s. You know, it's something that's been on my mind for a long time. If you're planning for the present or tomorrow, you are way behind. So I'm always looking about what I'm gonna hit next. Be proud of the accomplishments you make, whether it's in life, dieting, nutrition, training, but always want one more thing. You should always want one step higher than you're accomplishing right now. Okay, I'll check that out. So what you're saying, I would ship my products to you and then you guys would fulfill the orders? Would it only be for international orders that I would ship the product to? How fast do you think we could be shipping internationally? Are you too? All right, bye. Now with that being said, there is a caveat that you have to consider. And with reward comes risk. And you have to ask yourself the question, is the risk worth the reward? That is one question I ask myself in the decision-making process that moves my life either forward or backwards. And there is always a consequence of risk associated with decision-making. And when you bet on yourself, you are incurring a lot of that risk. You have to be willing. You have to be willing and able to accept that risk. Because if you make it through the other side, you get the reward. But if not, you have to be willing to accept the consequences. Hey guys, just gonna do a full day eating today. Alright guys, meal one. I have 3 servings of simply shredded hash brown potato. $1.98 in the store, and you get like 7 servings. I highly recommend them. So about to head to the gym, taking some orange flight, some lemonade Intraflight, and then some creatine. For my logo, for example, I think it works pretty well. I have this bee, the Bear bee, and if you saw a sticker like that, you could easily identify that is a Bear Performance Nutrition bee. So we got our shipment in, we got Intraflight lemonade. This will probably be like the last order of supplements that comes to the house. Now the second thing, and I truly believe might be the most important, is to become a learning machine. Now before we dive into this one, I have a story. And that story goes back to when I was a brand new infantry platoon leader. My commander's name was Captain Sorrells. June 21st here in Korea. So I'm 5 months into my 9-month rotation here in Korea. All right, so right now it is 6 o'clock, just got off of work. Work is that building right there. And I live in this building right here, which is super convenient. This is my room, this is what it looks like. Got like my little sleeping area here. I'm still using my sleeping bag, couch, got a nice closet here, my little amenities, bathroom, my little humble abode right now. And on the first couple weeks in the job, I identified this problem. So I thought in my head, I'm gonna take this problem to Captain Sorrell's and he's gonna be so happy that I identified this problem. So I go to his office, I knock on the door, I stand in the position of attention, I say, sir, I identified this problem. And I told him the problem, and then he responded with, okay, what are the courses of action that you identified as solutions? And I thought, I didn't find any solutions. I'm just bringing you the problem. And he said, don't bring me a problem unless you bring me multiple courses of action for a solution. And I'll never forget that. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will tell you that starting a business with small amounts of cash or investment is a downfall. But I'm here to argue that there are more positives than negatives. Because what happened with me starting my business is that I had to learn how to be resourceful and creative. So I went to IKEA looking for this couch. Ended up finding it on clearance for $210, and it was supposed to be $300. So I saved 30%, so it was a pretty good steal, and it just worked out that the couch I wanted was on clearance. So some new channel gear. So I got this Canon 70D, and that's what I'm using right now. The reason I picked this one up is because it is that STM, that is stepper motor. So when it autofocuses, it won't have that clicking noise anymore. And if there was something that I had to change or complete and I couldn't outsource or hire that job or position, I had to become a learning machine. Reading books, listening to podcasts, studying other businesses. If there was a change I had to make on the website and I couldn't afford a developer, I taught myself code. I taught myself the required skills to complete that. So if you've been on our site in the past like 2 weeks, you'll probably notice that we're sold out of 50% of our products and like 90% of inventory.
Hi Greg, my name is Preston Bear. I'm calling a part of the company Bear Performance Nutrition. I was wondering if I could talk to you about the property. I think it's right across from the FedEx facility.
So the gym is done. We got it all. Okay, so this morning we got new protein samples that came in. All in here is supplements. It's where we're gonna store our supplements. We'll have like shelves going up the whole wall. And then this room is going to be dedicated to fulfilling orders, shipping orders, and then we'll have a delivery truck. We already set it up. Delivery trucks can come by every day, pick up our orders, which saves us time from going to the post office. And what that teaches you how to do is build your skill set. If you think of it almost like a Swiss Army pocket knife or a utility knife, over time, you keep adding tools onto that pocket knife, onto that utility knife, or at the end of this lifetime of learning and constantly challenging yourself to become this learning machine, you build this massive skill set. How many did you do today?
What did we do so far, Joe? Like 500?
Yeah, right around 500.
Around 500. And it's only 3:41 p.m.
So we're rolling. Now with that being said, there is a time and place to be efficient with your time, money, and energy. And now that I'm in my 30s, I can afford to pay people to do things for me and with me that I had to do myself in my 20s. Last night kind of sucked. It was a late one because when my computer crashed yesterday, all my plugins on Final Cut Pro, which is what I use to edit my videos, were just erased. So I spent the whole night trying to bring those back, re-input those, edit the video. But back when I was in my 20s, I had to go through that mud. I had to be that learning machine, which I still am. I'm constantly learning. We're all still constantly learning, and we should never stop learning. But in the beginning, you gotta be willing to learn and do everything. And that was powerful for me. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Dude, that's clean. That looks so good. These next 2 days are gonna be absolute madness for pickups. Like, we're coming up on 800 orders now. Number 3 is probably the most instrumental thing that I did in my 20s that led me to where I'm at in my 30s, and that was join the military. In 2013, I commissioned into the US Army as an active duty infantry officer. And it's funny because when I branched and commissioned infantry, everyone told me, don't choose infantry. There's no applicable skills to the outside world. And for a second, I believed them. And then when I was in, I realized all the things that I'm learning are directly applicable to the civilian sector. And even more importantly, super applicable to building and running a business in terms of people, logistics, time management. It was this pivotal point in my life, and I served 4 years active duty. I'm just gonna do a day in the life of an infantry platoon leader.
So a pretty common question I get is how to balance weight training and the cardio that you're doing in the military. For one,
Okay, so lunch is super brotastic, just 8 ounces of chicken breast with some ketchup, and then 12 ounces of russet potato, coconut oil, sea salt, and some spray butter on there. But I learned so much, not just about leadership experience and logistics and managing time, resources, energy, personnel, but I learned a lot about myself. And as we grow the business, as we scale BPN, I always look back to things that I was taught and learned in the Army. And from that organizational level, all the things I learned are applicable to building teams, in culture, in a business, in a brand, and managing these things such as time, energy, money, and resources. And that was a really pivotal point of my life. And I always recommend to anyone that asks, join the military, serve in the military. You're gonna learn a lot from the experience. You have to go and do it with the expectations of how you're gonna learn from those experiences. But it was truly a powerful part of my life and something I will always look back as instrumental to leading me to where we are today. You know, the military has so much to offer you. And I learned so much during my short 4 years in the Army. But if I boil it down to one thing that I've really taken away from that experience, is that the military teaches you what a standard looks like and how to uphold that standard. And that's been ingrained into my brain, and I've carried that into my civilian life now, building a business, that you set a standard and you hold that standard, and you hold others accountable around you to also hold that standard. And you don't dip below that. You always maintain that standard, and that standard that you hold for yourself and your team and your business and your family, that should and has to be higher than the standard that the rest of society holds to themselves. Raise that bar, raise that standard, and hold it, and never let it drop. The military taught me that, and that is a powerful, powerful tool and resource. With effort, hours, experience, knowledge, you will grow. So it took me 3 years and 2 separate YouTube channels. Take the risk, be willing to take the risk, and then just do huge things. Number 4 is adopting the go one more mindset. This has been revolutionary, not just for myself, but I know thousands of other people that have followed the brand and the mission. And the way Go One More came to life was one day in 2018, I was doing a training run for a marathon prep. And that day called for an 18-mile run. And when I got to mile 10, I really wanted to stop. I didn't feel like finishing that run. But my mindset kicked in, and instead of doing 18, I pushed myself to do 19. I went one more. And when I came home from that run, took off my hat, I wrote one more on the bill, I took a picture, I posted it on social media, and the response was wild. There were dozens, if not hundreds of other people that were writing that on the bill of their hat, taking a picture and then sending it to me. So I realized something clicked, not just with myself, but a lot of other people. Go One More isn't just doing one more mile on your training run, or doing one more rep in the gym, or doing one more hour of cardio. That doesn't give Go One More justice. Go One More, in a nutshell, in a quote, is being consistently good rather than occasionally great. It is consistently showing up, meeting the standard, and doing what you have to do to drive forward. It's not occasionally great. It's not occasionally showing up and blowing it out of the water. It is being consistent every single day, day in and day out, to go one more in your life. I apply it to fitness and all of the training races, or personal challenges I strive for in business and everything we do to build the team, launch new products, scale the brand. In terms of my family, what I'm doing at home, Go One More is the foundation of my life. And it has been so powerful, not just for myself, but so many other people that I wouldn't be here now without it. I mean, I believe in it so much. I got it tattooed on my arm. Go One More is on my arm because I want to see it every single day when I wake up and when I go to sleep. Number 5 is related to number 1, which was bet on yourself. But number 5 is invest and save. Now, saving and investing, two completely different things. Saving money is putting money away for later use, which is more short term. Investing is making your money make money for the long term. And when I was in my early 20s, I started investing in my retirement, which was in the form of a Roth IRA, which is an ideal situation. It was smart. But what happens when you're a business owner and an entrepreneur and you're building a business, and especially a product-based business, which requires cash? And a lot of times that cash is invested into inventory, which is expensive. And when cash flow gets tight, it is a scary time. And building a business from the ground up, you experience a lot of those scary times. So there were 2 times when I pulled out all of my money from my investments and liquidated that into cash and put it into BPN so we could keep BPN afloat. It was just necessary. We needed it to survive. So I'm glad early on in my 20s, I put money away. I saved and invested money. Even though that money didn't really have time to make money for me, I had it set aside so we could keep the business alive and thrive. Now we're at a point where I am working with a financial advisor team, and we are investing money on a regular basis to make money for us in the future. I would highly advise, doesn't matter how much money you have, $50, $75 a month, start investing early on. In my case, I needed to pull that out pretty early to keep the lights on. But now I'm investing for my future. So it doesn't matter how much it is, start putting money away, start having your money make you money. Last but certainly not least is learning how to say no. And when I tell you this was a hard one to learn, and it took me time to learn, but when I started implementing this, wow, like game changing. It's really easy for a lot of people. Some people are just naturally born this way, good at saying no and turning down, I don't want to say opportunities, but distractions. Turning down distractions. Because when I was younger, growing up, I wanted to please everyone. So I would say yes to a lot of things and a lot of people, which would distract me from what I was actually trying to accomplish and do with my time. I was giving away my time and energy, which left me with diminished returns of time and energy. And when I learned how to say no to people, things, events that didn't really work towards my goals, and it's tough, but you have to learn how to say no. And once you learn how to say no, hey, I can't go on this trip. I can't travel to this wedding. I can't go for lunch today. I can't commit to helping you work towards your goal. Because if you keep spreading yourself too thin, you'll have nothing left. Learning how to say no is not selfish. And a lot of people will try to frame it that way. It is not selfish. Because if you diminish all of your energy, you got nothing left. We were 1 hour away from the biggest sale of the year.
Like 300 orders deep, and I thought it was too much.
Last night we ended up packing pretty late. Got to sleep for a few hours. And we slept here at the warehouse on the couches. But last night we had around 6,000 orders roll in. 10:30 p.m., $1 million in revenue, our first 7-figure month. Our most successful Black Friday, our most successful month ever of Bear Performance Nutrition sales. So it is 3:27 p.m. On the first day of Black Friday, and right now we're about 15,000 orders deep. So that's what I did in my 20s to set myself up for success in my 30s. And I get it. I understand that not everyone's situation or opportunities are the same. No one has an identical path growing up. But if there's one thing that I did in my 20s that I look back on and I'm glad I did, it was that I bet on myself. I believed in myself. At the end of my life, wherever I end up, I know that it is a sum of the choices I made. Right or wrong, wins or losses, successes or failures, all of the choices that I make add up. They're my responsibility. They're my obligations. And I have to own that. So I wake up every single day choosing the hard path because I know it's gonna lead me in the right direction. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.